Love that robot, especially when she's back for a third season. Brace yourselves, because here's my ranking of my favorite episodes of the third season of Small Wonder right now. Big Days! Entertainment rankings and reviews. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to you as the Big D. This time around, I bring to you another ranking, and it's on my favorite episodes of the third season of the cute, bionic, yet underrated program Small Wonder. Now, if you have not seen my first two rankings, wait for them to come up in the cards at the end of the vid, so you can catch what you might miss, or see them again if you'd like. I can see that they're both doing pretty well now. They're doing much better than the Punky Brewster ones. Oh well, it's because I made lots of good friends and what have you with other Small Wonder fanatics. But enough said. Let's get ready to bring to you my third season ranking. Now the rest of the series isn't on DVD. Now, a friend of mine did give me some DVDs of them. Well, sort of in a bootleg way, but he burned those off after they were shown on antenna TV on their first time showings before they did the credit crush thing. Which, thank goodness. But however, I will not reveal that person's name, so no can do. I'm not telling you. Anyway, Small Wonder went through a little bit of changes. Vicky eats a little bit, and Vicky can eat and drink now. Do just about a lot of other things. Also, another thing is the theme songs a few words verses in the theme song were changed because in the original version, some of the words were kind of a little juvenile, but however, no problem. I like both versions of the theme because it's more pop, kind of got more pop sound and what have you. Kind of similar to what they recently did with the theme to Charles in Charge when it returned earlier that same year when the third season of this started in 1987. Despite it was still getting dissed by critics and some viewers, being considered the worst show on television, it was still a top hit in syndication. But anyway, when I first watched it, I only got to see 11 episodes on YouTube, and then finally, this guy who gave me the DVDs actually provided the rest of the episodes. The episodes I never got to see, and they proved to be even better than what I could even want, because there were episodes I really wanted to see. So anyway, third season, I'm going to say from my point of view, is probably close to being my second favorite season behind the first season. Alright, but let's get into this ranking first. First of all, I'm getting my words wrong, what I'm saying wrong. Let's get to the ranking, but before I do, let me give honorable mentions to 3 episodes, which they are Woodward and Bernstein, Bride and Groom, and Book It. So, if you are ready, here we go. Number 12 is Whodunit. Now, this episode is the third season, and and like the other 2 lists, this is going to be half of the episodes, 12 out of the 24 episodes that were produced and aired, okay? Okay, so number 12 is Whodunit. This is episode number 3. Now, I didn't quite enjoy, the first 2 episodes she was in. Leanne Jones, who plays the snobby Jessica, is in this episode. Jamie's got his sights on her, and unfortunately, she's getting embarrassed by it. Oh dear. Jamie wants to try and make it up to her by writing a letter, but, with Vicky's help, tries to do it, but unfortunately, when he tries to make it more, for a lady, he uses some of his mom's perfume, since Joan is now a teacher and what have you, since she started being a substitute in the season 2 episode, My Mother the Teacher. But apparently, He accidentally spills the perfume, and he and Vicky hide and hears someone rustling through papers because Jones is trying to give everybody a big test coming up. But now they just don't know what to do. Jones suspects that Jamie stole it. But however, soon, with Vicky's help as a lie detector, they learn that the guilty one is none other than Jessica. Yeah. That's only a slight spoiler in case you never saw it. So I only spilled the nuts and bolts just a little bit, but not a whole lot. But boy, I gotta tell you, they really get into her. Jamie really embarrasses her to get her to say it when she wants him to take the blame. After that, she does the "What in the cotton blooming world did I just see? I see Jessica blow a kiss to Jamie. That's kind of a first." Now, couldn't believe this. I gotta say. Now, I'd rather I don't show you any clips though, because I'm not going to, because I don't want to get into trouble with Fox and Disney, okay? But I can tell you though, okay? Because they do have good episodes. I mean, when Jamie comes to school dressed as a crazy nerd, he kind of looks like a young version of Skolnick from Revenge of the Nerds and does a crazy snort. Not quite as good as Jaleel White did as Steve Urkel later on Family Matters, but Who Done It is really a funny episode. Number 11 is I'll Drink to That. Now, this episode is, let me look at this. Okay. Yeah, this is episode number 19. This episode is also marks the final appearance of Mrs. Fernwald, who comes to check on Vicky and the Lawsons. But unfortunately, she's in for a shock when she learns that Ted has a bottle of champagne at an early time after he has left work, after getting a big raise. But boy, now apparently Mrs. Fernwald threatens to take Vicky away from the Lawsons if Ted doesn't join a program like Al-Anon, Alcoholics Anonymous. So he does, and well, he apparently gets a partner in this guy named Kenny. Yeah, I'd say he's crazy. I mean, Vicky keeps an eye on him, literally crazy too. And apparently she imitates what he says in front of Mrs. Fernwald. It's like, what a hanger. I felt like someone started a chainsaw on my head. Now, one of my favorite parts in this episode is when Jamie decides to take a chance and try the champagne, despite from which Ted didn't get rid of. Vicky said it's not for kids, but then he thought it's not bad for robots, so he pours it into a glass. Vicky takes a drink and she gives a big hiccup and shoots out bubbles like a bubble blowing machine. Jamie's in shock. He's scared, and Vicky says, "I'm perfectly fine, thank you." And then her head drooped and went face down into a pie from which Jamie was having a slice of. Oh boy! But in the end, Kenny gets to meet with Mrs. Farnwell, and everything's straightforward. Yeah, but Jamie really gets upset with Harriet when she spills the nuts and bolts on what her dad was trying to do about Ted's raise, But I won't tell you that. I don't want to spill more than nuts, much more nuts and bolts on this episode, so that's it. Number 10 is For Sale by Robot. Now, this episode is episode 16. Now, this episode was originally intended for Vicky's evil twin Vanessa, which we'll see where her first appearance episode winds up. But instead, they give it to Vicky. Jones got a new job as a real estate salesperson or something like that. Well, she's going to show off her first client a house, who apparently end up being an unscrupulous cowpoke couple called the Flugs. Fred and Frida Flug, actually. Now, they're from Texas, but unfortunately, as you know, they don't quite talk in a Texas style. Now, my favorite part is when, after Tan Jones gone because Joan forgot the key to the house she's showing off, that's when Mr. Flug's like, well, howdy there, little darling. I'm Fred Flug. Vicky says like, howdy there, big darling. I'm Vicky Lawson. Yeah. And introduces his wife. This here's a little missus. Like, howdy there, color bums. Not much to look at, are you? Yeah, apparently after they do a little something to get Joan to, well, to do her job correctly, Vicky unfortunately sells the Lawson household to the Flukes, and boy, now they really gotta find a way to get it back. Because Ted was also planning to renovate the house. Oh boy. They really turned out to be, this really turned out to be a real fun fest. I think you would love this episode. It's not really one of the greatest, but it's fun though. Yeah, especially when they managed to get the flugs out there. It's great. Number 9 is Breakfast of Criminals. Now, this is episode number 10. Now, although the episode was also known as TV or Not TV, this episode features a guest appearance by David Ruprecht, who, of course, would later go on to direct. Well, not direct. Well, he directed. I do believe. No, he. Oh, crap! I'm sorry. I've lost myself. He recently wrote, and also co-wrote some of Small Wonders stories. He would later go on to be the host, that's what I was trying to say, of TV Supermarket Sweep on TV in the late 80s, going to the early 90s and what have you, which, of course, if anybody's heard, there's a brand new version of that coming out. Now, he plays an advertising executive named Zach Davis, and he apparently discovers Vicky at the supermarket when he's trying to show off a new cereal called Crunchy Pops. Well, Harriet tries it, she don't like it, but Jamie passes on and Vicky tries it. And wow. And soon Vicky becomes the star of a commercial, and I gotta say, during the first two takes, it's absolutely crazy. When Vicky opens up the box during the second take, she breaks it like a cracker, like the English party favor. Yeah. And then we do a kind of a little like a scene wipe, and I kind of add a little French narrating from SpongeBob impression. 16 takes later. Yeah, Vicky's really getting the hang of this now. Until Harriet comes along. Oh boy. Yeah, so apparently they, they finally get the commercial done, but Mr. Davis wants to take Vicky out on the road as a Crunchy Pops girl, but well, losses were too thrilled, so they decided to give Mr. Davis a taste of what he doesn't like. Stage parents. What do I mean by that? I won't spill the nuts and bolts on that. You're gonna have to watch the episode. Sorry, but this episode is absolutely funny. Number 8 is Read My Lips. This is episode number 6, and this is probably one of the more special episodes. Now, a deaf boy named Josh gets enrolled at Jamie's school, and apparently Vicky helps out when in translating what he is saying because he's doing it in sign language. Apparently, everyone makes fun of him and what have you. Now, when Jamie officially becomes friends with him, but unfortunately, when they're at the Wolfpack meeting, which Ted's filling in for the headmaster of the Wolfpack at the last minute. Yeah, apparently it turns into a bit of sadness when he tells everyone he wants to be Josh's friend to earn a merit badge. And apparently, that was just terrible. Did it for the wrong reasons. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Jamie tries to reconcile with him and fails. But apparently, things take a better turn at the next meeting and what have you. Yeah. But, that's just so much money. Now, the best part of this episode is the last bit of it. Harriet comes with a pineapple when Jamie tells her that want to make pineapple surprise for dessert. I don't even know what in the common blooming world it is, though. Jamie's in shock, but Reggie's like, I believe you said if Harriet can find a pineapple between here and Hawaii, you'd marry her. I just laughed at the reaction on Harriet's face. It's crazy. Like, I accept. Oh boy. Whew. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. It was fun, though. Of course, he managed to make amends and what have you, with Josh Cheney does, and before Harriet even kind of ruins his life in a way, Jamie's. Oh well, we can't all be perfect, especially when you're around a little freckle-faced, red-haired girl like Harriet. But this is an episode you gotta check out. Number 7 is Ooga Mooga. This is episode number 13. Now, although this is considered a Christmas themed episode, but no Christmas themes are even used, except for the Caribous. The Caribou Lodge, which Brandon Brindle wants to make Ted a new member of, so he could help with a special charity show that they're putting on for the big guy at United Robotronics. Yes. So apparently it turns into a fun fest. Now, Joe and Vicky go shopping and they encounter this here big life-size doll that can dance and even talk, which that kind of creeped me out a little bit. No offense. And her name was Kelby. Oh, wow. Now, there actually was a show that came out back in the 60s, which was kind of, in a way, sort of a precursor to Small Wonder called My Living Doll, which starred Julie Newmar, but that actually who went on to play Catwoman on TV's Batman. Which actually, if I'm not mistaken, this episode was directed by Leslie H. Martinson, who also directed a couple episodes of the Batman TV series, as well as the Batman movie that came out after the success of the first season of that show. He directed most of the episodes, with Bob Claver and Selig Frank coming in right behind. If I remember correctly, Martinson directed 24 episodes, with Claver coming in right behind with 23. Anyway, but Brandon ruins the doll, so Joe and Vicky manages to fix up everything. Jamie manages to do a little magic act with old man Brindle, but apparently you'll see how things go when you see this episode. It turns out to be a fun fest. But even so, I do love it. I like watching it during the holiday season anyway. No Christmas trees or Christmas themes, or no Christmas trees or themes. I still watch it during the holiday season, yeah. Number 6 is Ronald McDonald House. Now, this is episode 17, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Now, this episode was, of course, one of the 2 episodes that was being, had kind of a little bit of sponsorship in a way. McDonald's, the Ronald McDonald House. Of course, Book It was the other one because Pizza Hut sponsored that program, and they're mentioned in that episode. But anyway, this episode's a very special episode. Now, apparently, a new kid in Jamie's class is just kind of being all pushy and what have you. Yes. And apparently, Joan wants him to become Jamie to be friends with the boy, and apparently, well, he doesn't want any friends. So apparently, with a little help from Vicky and Harriet, they kind of put on a little bit of a melodrama as a party at the Ronald McDonald house where he and his mom staying. Now, because the reason why is because the boy whose name's Mark, that's his name. I now remembered. Mark has leukemia, and boy, Vicky knew everything because she was reading the medical encyclopedias and all that stuff. So they put on a little melodrama they call The Perils of Lily White Corpuscle, which Lily's played by, you guessed it, Harriet. Not too bad. Vicky comes out as Big Luke, leukemia. And Jamie is the big hero, Captain Chemo. But it's Vicky. That's right. You mean Captain Wimpo? oh, oh. But Jamie knew he could stop Big Luke, with the help of his partner Ray. Radiation. And apparently it was Mark. So he joined in and helps. And boy, he and Jamie made amends and became friends officially. Which I gotta hand it to this episode. This episode is absolutely great. I think you'll really love it. It's very funny. This was also the first episode to be directed by Dick Christie, who plays Ted on the show. He only appeared in a little bit of the episode, but not a whole lot. Now, he would direct 2 other episodes, and those would be in season 4, which were Tag You're It and Thy Neighbor's Wife. Now, this episode was actually originally to be produced for the 4th season, but it got aired in the 3rd season. So, Ronald McDonald House, I think it's a masterpiece. Number 5 is The Bad Seed. This is episode 9. This episode introduces us to Vanessa, who I mentioned earlier. Now, Tiffany Bristette, of course, plays her just like she does with Vicky. Unlike Vicky, she speaks in Brissette's normal voice and not in a monotone like she does for Vicky. Well, apparently, Ted feels like they don't need Vicky anymore. So apparently, he decides to let Vanessa stay. But as it turns out, while Vanessa does look sweet and all, but turns into a bit of a mean one, crushing Jamie's football, ripping off Joan's dress, and picking up Ted like a big sack of potatoes. Oh, wow. Yeah. Now, I do like one of the parts where Ted just being funny with Vanessa and after what she did to Joan, and Joan's just like, word to the wise, hold on to your pants. Oh boy, that's all this show needs, more hysterical humor. And I gotta hand it to this show. It's had some of the most funniest things ever, including some of the funniest things, which I almost forgot. Cuddle Bumps from For Sale by Robot, which I heard in. That was a funny name. Yeah. Okay, back to the bad seed. So Vanessa's really causing a bit of chaos, and then soon switches clothes with Vicky once she learns that Ted's plan to dismantle her. But well, it's a big switch over. But Ted manages to confront Vanessa after she ties him, Jamie, and Jonah up, and Vicky being back to normal. But I will not going to spill the nuts and bolts on that. You just gotta watch the episode. The Bad Seed. It's good. Number 4 is the Lawsonville Horror. This is episode number 8. Now, this episode I watch every Halloween. Actually, Antenna TV actually aired it. Well, with some of their spooktacular themed episodes. When I watched this for the first time, I was impressed with it. I loved it. Well, apparently, it's a dark and stormy night at the Lawson household, and apparently, soon a power outage goes. Once Vicky's checking the circuit breaker box, she gets electrocuted because lightning strikes. And once um, Vicky's back, everything starts going well happening. Vicky changes the channel unexpectedly when she's getting the popcorn, and everything's happening. Once she gives the popcorn to Harriet, who stops by, her pigtails start going up. Man, Harriet believes the Lawson's house is haunted. And so Vicky goes to close the door. The antenna starts going around. The Lawsons can't believe when Jamie, especially when Jamie says they're here, just like in the movie Poltergeist. Which actually, speaking of Poltergeist, Heather O'Rourke, who played the little girl in Poltergeist, was actually one of the few frontrunners for Vicky before it went to Tiffany Brissett. Candace Cameron, who would go on to play DJ on Full House, was also one of them. Wow. Yeah. But the show probably would have halted production as O'Rourke, however, passed away in '87, right after finishing filming Poltergeist 3. But anyway, yeah, apparently everything's been looks like a tornado's gone through the next morning. The living room's a mess. Vicky's fixing up breakfast, and apparently once she's going out, everything starts going, and it scares everybody. Jamie feels like he's the only kid in the neighborhood with his own ghost. Vicky asks what a ghost was, and Jamie explains it's a strange looking thing from another world. Boy, crazy. That's probably more like it sounds more like an alien. But anyway, Harriet comes up and Vicky looks back with Jamie and Vicky's just like, hi ghost. Well, apparently she had a little something around her neck. Jamie's like, what is that? She's like, it's to keep evil spirits away. It's a string of anchovies. Yeah, Jamie didn't look too thrilled, especially with didn't feel too thrilled, especially with the smell. Anchovies? Harriet, it was supposed to be garlic that does that. Oh boy, Jamie, not really that smart. That's for vampires. Harriet's upset. Garlic? Darn it. I spent a whole hour picking these off the pizza, and it's like, well, it's not a total loss. It'll keep me away. But as Harry goes on, she turns back to where Vicky was and just cried out in alarm. She sees Vicky suspended in the air, floating like an actual ghost. Screamed out, "Vicky! She's possessed!" Yeah. Uh, Jamie wasn't impressed with that, but Vicky can't get back on the ground. She has no control of herself. Once Jamie rushes to call his folks, and only a second later, Vicky's now standing on the wall, kind of like Linda Blair does in The Exorcist. Oh, excuse me, everyone. Yeah, but apparently Ted had no choice but calling Dickens and Finster, two hapless Ghostbusters who managed to try to fix everything. And Harriet's planning to is giving a tour off of the Lawson household. Crazy. But once Ted explains what happened, realizes that the static electricity from the lightning storm occurred on what happened to Vicky, and her radiothermal generator is acting haywire or something. But soon, with the help of Finster and Dickens, they managed to get things under control. Not gonna tell you how tell you how that goes. That's going to be spilling the nuts and bolts, big time. I love the Lawsonville horror. It's a good episode. Number 3 is Safety First. This is episode 22, I believe. Is it? No, it's 23. My mistake. Yeah, I forgot 22 is Book It. My bad. My mistake. Oh, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, Safety First is the next to last episode, 23. Well, they're talking about household safety, CPR, and all that jazz. Joan wants Jamie and Reggie to do a play about common household accidents. Now, they do, even though old man Brindle and Harriet decide to have a little dinner with the Lawsons, Vicky manages to do the Heimlich maneuver on him, and oh boy. And now Brandon plans to sue the Lawsons for what Vicky did. Anyway, now one of the fun parts of this is Vicky doing multitasking, tap dancing, singing, while vacuuming and dusting because she has a feather duster tied to the back of her dress. I'm like, I've heard shake your tail feathers, but feather duster? Oh, that is too cute. And she's singing When the Saints Go Marching In, which actually, according to a Small Wonder fan site I checked out, I read that Tiffany Bissett, being so polite in her Sunday school class, she chose to do that. Yeah, you better believe it. Where was I? Oh, yes. Now, apparently, Harriet wants in on the little play, even though Jamie and Reggie are in junior high and Harriet's still in grade school. But apparently, she really wants it apart. So apparently, Brandon is really still trying to get some money out of the losses for what Vicky does. And once he leaves, Ted peeks and learns he's faking his accident. But I'm not going to tell you how that goes, but it really turns out for a real fun right in the end when they try to, well, get out of him, you know. Now, as for the play, Jamie realizes they have part for Harriet. So once they put on their play, which was about the Klutz family, which Vicky could play Mrs. Klutz, and Reggie is Mr. Klutz, and Jamie is the narrator. Now they needed baby Shirley, and it's you got it, Harriet. Once that goes, Harriet cousin, oh, she's so cute. And yep, once she trips out of the phone cord, her head goes through like a desk drawer. Don't worry, nobody was harmed in the making of this episode. Thank you. I mean, the first one, I'm just like, wait, like almost kind of like what she did back in the episode Top Secret. Oh man, I was laughing my head off at that. Oh, crazy. And once stuff flies out of the cabinet, once Harriet opens it, and apparently Joan's shocked by this. Maybe we should stop the plane and take you home. Harriet's like, what? And give up show business? Oh boy. Yeah, I bet you heard that. I bet a lot of y'all probably heard that before in certain things. I know that because I heard that as one of the lines heard in a later video game. Of course, that being Bubsy in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. But anyway, they managed to, again, in the end, they managed to stop old man Brindle from suing them. So safety first. I love it. Number 2 is Everyone to the Pool. This is episode 2, and this was one of the first of the episodes I never got to see until, someone actually provided it on YouTube before it was removed. But I love this episode. The Lawsons get a new pool and start to enjoy it in a way, but well, the Brindles come along and try to get on the action. But Harriet doesn't know how to swim, so she just decides to sun herself. Jamie's about to go for it, but apparently he goes into the house with Mr. Brindle to get himself something. At the Lawsons go to the market. Well, Harriet's just hanging on from the handrails on the step ladder into the pool, but she slips in and Vicky saves her. At least not getting herself completely waterlogged. Which that happens later on when she gets her out of the set time. I'm getting ahead of myself. So Vicky decides to do a big favor for Vicky, do all sorts of chores for her. Once she comes in, she gives Vicky a manicure. Her fingernails are all long, and Harry reveals she's going to do Vicky's toenails next. And Jamie's like, "Do them like that, and she'll be able to climb trees." But she had lots more things to do. She says, "Vicky, maybe I'll give you a permanent." Jamie's like, "I like to give Harriet a permanent lump on her head." Oh boy! And if that wasn't enough, she even helped Vicky do the laundry. She starched Ted's shirt. Oh boy. Anyway, but to make matters worse, old man Brindle comes along and decides to be a humble servant for the Lawsons to, well, for what Harriet's done. Joan's not too thrilled, saying that shouldn't have Brandon around and what have you. It's like, every time I turn around, he's in my hair like dandruff. Oh boy. Everything goes badly. Ted decides to pull a fast one and manages to pretend he saved Brandon's life. But unfortunately, they take a good turn. But unfortunately, when Vicky tries to get Harriet out again, she pulls one on her, and Vicky's sunk to the pool, and she's completely waterlogged, all rested up. Don't worry, we don't see her completely rested up completely. But once Brandon gets her to the hospital, oh boy. Especially when this nurse brings in the X-ray, we see a big microchip. The doctor's like, "Nurse, that's not the inside of a little girl. That's the inside of a computer." And that nurse is like, "They sure don't make kids like they used to." Crazy. But apparently, Ted manages to get Vicky fixed back up. I'm not going to spill the nuts and bolts on that. But they managed to get back at old man Brindle, though. The best part of the episode is the last bit of it. Vicky suggests what they should do with her, since she's still slightly a little waterlogged, is to stand her up in the middle of the yard and use her as fountain. And yeah, Vicky starts spitting out water from both sides. Oh boy, that's the best part. I love that part. It's my favorite. That's why I loved Everyone to the Pool. It's absolutely a great episode. Number one is the facts of life. This is episode 11, and I'm going to tell you, when I first saw this episode, this was absolutely funny. Now, this episode marked the final appearances of Warren and Jessica. Yeah, Daryl T. Bartley once again played him. He actually did recently appear in Read My Lips. Anyway, Ted has given Vicky an appetite with a metabolic thermostatic servo mechanism to regulate Vicky's polynucleotide processor, in other words, a tummy. And apparently, Vicky starts devouring pancakes and chug-a-lugging the whole pitcher of milk. Crazy. So apparently, Jamie's trying to find a list of possible dates for the prom at school. Well, apparently, Vicky decides to get Warren to go, but apparently, Jamie wants to take Jessica, but she had the hots for this dude, Ernie Henderson. And apparently, Vicky decides to take Ernie away, and let Ernie decide to have Jamie take Jessica. But unfortunately, a turn of events occur when Vicky somehow gets fat. Oh boy. Which causes her to lose the date and what have you. Ted explains to Jamie that being fat doesn't make Vicky less worthwhile. You gotta like people for what they are, not what they look like. Yeah. But apparently, later on, Harriet comes along and she's like, "Wow, look at you. How'd you get so fat?" And it's like, "I was bitten by a bee the size of a school bus." Harriet's like, "The bee must have died a horrible death." Oh, this had some funny lines. And so With what Vicky had on, Harriet decided to make her go in style, dazzling with fashion, dressed like a mini Bonnie Brindle, who unfortunately we only see in the episode Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, since E. McClurg was now currently playing Miss Patty Poole on the Hogan Family on NBC at the time. So anyway, but Warren manages to fend Vicky from being fat to Arnie and a buddy of his, and soon, well, they got a chance to go to the dance. Even though Jamie decides to take a chance to go with Wanda, Warren's sister, but it takes a turn for the worst and the best. Because he'll get a better day. I won't tell you that. That's going to be spilling the nuts and bolts. And Vicky is back to normal. Meaning, I will say she had enough gas to get to Pittsburgh. Reason why she was fat. That's a slight spilling the nuts and bolts, okay? Enough said. Now, my favorite part, now the best part of this episode was when Vicky, well, reveals to Harriet nobody asked her out to the date and tells her to use feminine wiles. So apparently she pulls down, well, yeah, to her and she moves around, moves up to her, sidles up to her. Yeah, she just says some words. Hi, you're cute. And oh, wow, how'd you like to take me to the dance, big guy? Yeah, oh boy. Vicky's like, that's feminine wiles. Harriet says, sure, flattery, trickery, and pretense. Things that lead to marriage. Oh boy, now that's something you don't see every day. I'm pretty sure that's something you probably didn't see every day as a kid. A little girl doing feminine wiles? I can't. I never saw anybody do that before. In the 40 years I've been born. I'm sorry. I just threw that in there to see if you were paying attention. But I'm serious about the rest of it though. This episode is an absolute fun filled episode. I love it. Okay. And that's why The Facts of Life is my number one favorite episode of the third season. So, what's your favorite episode, the third season of Small Wonder? Do you like any of these episodes? Or do you have a favorite of your own? You can tell me in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel as well, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me again next time when I bring to you a ranking of the fourth and final season of Small Wonder. Thanks for watching. If you like this, see the other two Small Wonder rankings. The upper left hand corner is the first season ranking. The upper right hand corner is the second season ranking. And as a bonus, the bottom left hand corner is my ranking of the third season of Punky Brewster. And the bottom right hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya!